So the other day I was able to see Alien Covenant, and as you know, this is the 6th film in the Alien franchise, and this is a franchise that I have always been a big fan of. Obviously I wasn't around for the first Alien, or Aliens, or Alien 3, but I was around for 4, and Prometheus, and now Covenant, so the 3 worst ones, unfortunately. But, like I said, this franchise has always been one that I have been a big fan of. Ever since I saw the first one, ever since I saw the second, third, I have been a big fan of this franchise. Every one that comes out, I see, and I see more than once. I really like these movies, and for a variety of different reasons, and I like all of them to varying degrees.
This crew is made up of couples.
It's the first ever large-scale colonization mission. And everyone back on Earth is really grateful for your hard work and your courage. We're making history here.
Alien Covenant, Ridley Scott's 2017 follow-up to Prometheus and prequel to Alien, is finally out, and it is okay. I did not love this movie, but I did not hate this movie. I know a lot of people are coming out of it saying it's the most disappointing Aliens movie that they've had so far. It's not the worst. I don't think I've heard anyone say it's the worst one, but as far as an Alien movie from Ridley Scott goes, it is the most disappointing one. And I'd have to agree with that. I think this is the most disappointing one from Ridley Scott yet. And a lot of that comes down to the fact that it's just not that interesting, honestly. It's hard to explain. This movie, I've been kind of grappling with this movie ever since I saw it. I really want to like it, and there's a lot of stuff that I think is really great with it, but there's just some things in this movie that almost kill the entire experience, and that is, I think, why people are so disappointed with it. For me, the most disappointing aspect is the third act. The movie has 2 pretty great acts. The first and second act are really well done, but that third act is really, really bad. It's not really bad, but it is bad. The third act is bad. It reminded me of Alien Resurrection. They had this idea, and then the studio got involved, the wrong people got involved, and they took the context of the movie the wrong way. And the third act of this movie is a perfect example of that, because this movie is very much a Prometheus follow-up. And then the third act is very much an Alien prequel. And the Alien prequel stuff does not work as well as the Prometheus follow-up does. And when it switches tones between the Prometheus follow-up to the Alien prequel, it's so jarring that it almost ruins the movie. And it's hard to explain without getting into spoilers, so I'll probably just tag this video as a spoiler review. The third act of this movie is a complete disaster. A lot of that has to do with studio thinking. Again, the thing that plagued Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection once again pops up with Covenant, where you have this movie that's really different than the rest of the franchise, that's really weird and has a lot of new ideas and a lot of new themes and new creatures, new settings, and all that stuff works. And then the third act is just Alien again, where the alien is on the ship and they're walking through corridors, it's coming after them, and they have to blow it out an airlock, and it's just trudging through the same stuff over and over again, it feels like. And this is the first time in an Alien movie where this story feels worn out, where it feels played out. And I mean, all of these movies, to be fair, are basically the same. All of them are basically the same movie, except maybe Prometheus. That one's the most weird out of all of them, but still, that one remains an Alien movie. All of them have the same basic structure, and Alien Covenant is no different. He wanted to make his own Alien movie. He wanted to make a Prometheus follow-up, but the studio said, no, it has to be an Alien movie, and everyone that saw Prometheus said, there's not enough Alien in it, and so he's like, okay. And the studio said, yeah, there's not enough Alien in that one, so we need this one to be Alien. And so I think he was commenting on that a little bit in this movie, and that is the most interesting part for me. All the stuff with Walter and David is the best part of this movie. Every time they have a scene together, it's freaking great. The flute scene especially is probably my favorite of the movie, where David's teaching Walter to play the flute, and the camera is doing this one take kind of swiveling back and forth between the two. It's really well done.
What happened here?
All of that stuff works really, really well. All the Prometheus follow-up stuff is great. The David crossbreeding and engineering and developing the facehugger and developing these new neomorphs, I think they're called, is all great. All that stuff is really great. The new crew is not good. Their characters are really terrible, but all of the stuff before the third act works well. The crew is a colonization team, which we haven't seen before. They go to this planet to investigate a transmission. The first act is almost beat for beat an Alien movie. The Alien movie. It's a crew goes to a planet to investigate a distress signal that they can't quite understand. They go, they investigate, someone gets sick, an alien starts running around. But in this one, it's the same movie as Alien until the alien starts running around, and then it's a completely different alien, and then it turns into a completely different movie from Alien. They don't go back to the ship, they stay on the planet, they run around, Michael Fassbender's there, he's breeding aliens, he killed off an entire civilization. Like, Alien Covenant wanted to be its own thing, and the first two acts of this movie does capture that feeling. But the third act is so stupid, it almost ruins the first two acts. The third act is basically the ending of Alien again. And that is the most frustrating part of this movie, because I can see the studio saying, okay, this is a risky movie, we need to plug in some safe bets, we need the nostalgia, we need fans to appreciate Alien again. So they just did the Alien ending again. And that's the most frustrating part with Covenant, is that it doesn't even follow its own rules. The studio, whenever studios get involved, they never understand context. They never understand what the movie is trying to accomplish. They just plug in safe bets. And they don't understand the context of Alien Covenant. So they plug in their safe alien ending. They plug in the safe bet, where it's, okay, the xenomorphs running through the hallways, and they gotta blow out an airlock, and they gotta save the rest of the crew. Well, we gotta go do this, and it's just so boring. The ending is so lame.
What's happening?
I need you back here right now. I need you.
Okay, baby, just calm down, sweetheart. Calm down.
Tell me to calm down.
You're breaking up.
Not to mention the fact that none of the characters are interesting. So this ending, this climactic airlock blowout scene is just not interesting. The most interesting characters are Walter and David, and they're basically not present. And this ending feels like it does not belong in this movie. It feels so different than the rest of the movie. So in the end, I want to like Alien Covenant. I've been fighting myself on whether I like it or I don't. And in the end, I feel like I'm pretty much down the middle with it. I think visually it's perfect. I think Scott's direction is incredible. I think the sound design is simply amazing. If you can watch this in Dolby Atmos, watch it in Dolby Atmos. The sound design is incredible. incredible in this movie. The visual effects are pretty good. Some of them fall apart occasionally. All the performances, I think, are good. Michael Fassbender's obviously a standout. So technically, this is pretty much as perfect as you could want from an Alien movie. It's technical perfection. It's where the story comes in and the characters comes in where it falls apart. The writing, the script is just not where it needed to be, and it feels like the studio got too involved and didn't understand the context of what was happening. So I'd probably give this a 6 out of 10. I don't know. I want to see it again. I'll say that much. I do want to see it again. There are some interesting things in there. The neomorph, the white alien, is probably the best aspect of the movie. It's just like this disgusting void-looking thing that's just a plain creature that's incredibly creepy and haunting to look at. I want to see more of this creature. I hope that Alien Awakening is the neomorph. I am kind of played out as far as the xenomorph goes. Especially with this third act, where it just feels like the studio is using it as nostalgia, where it's like, oh, you remember the xenomorph, right? You remember. And at this point, I'm like, I remember. I don't want to remember anymore. Give me something new. And the neomorph is that answer, and I want to see more of it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.